Hello and welcome back, at last, to our life beginnings, and always I'm excited to jump back in here into the world of Cove and pals. How is everybody doing? Seriously, let's talk for a second. I'm eating some spaghetti, so there'll be a little some chewing and eating noises in this video, like usual. I hope you're all doing good, because I am excited. I'm just excited to be here. I reminded myself we have 8 moments to do, and then summer ended, and now we're gonna find out what we're doing today. Oh, we're going boating. Oh boy, wasn't sure if I was ready for that. One of the ones I've been looking forward to the most. So this is the whole reason I want to include Baxter. This is a movie I've been very excited to do. Kind of glad I'm not doing Serendipity, because screw that. Let's go boating. You perched at the kitchen island, whiling away the minutes until your sister joined you downstairs. There was quite an adventure planned today. Lee was coming down near the Sunset Bird area as part of what she called a little trip. So, if this seems quieter than usual, let me know. It sounds quieter on my end, but maybe that's a good thing, because sometimes you know what, I'm going to turn it up probably a little bit, actually. Because usually the music's drawing me out a little bit. Oh wow, our life's actually up pretty. I think what's different is that the music on it, yeah, just a little bit, because I think usually the music feels like it's drowning me out a little bit, and I have to talk louder. But I also want you to be able to hear the voices. If it seems too quiet in the recording, please let me know. Apparently, she thought how nice it would be to go on a private boat trip this summer to celebrate graduation and everything. Yes, Lee, the rich girl who can just get a boat. What might have been an idle dream for most people turned into reality in Lee's hands. You'd been invited along for the ride by your best cousin. Yes, because, you know, money, money, money. See, I get the impression that this family is fairly well-to-do too, given that they live in all this. And they can just kind of do whatever they want. But I feel like there's a difference between being wealthy and being what River Marina's family is. It was kind of insane she could make that happen. You were eagerly anticipating the adventure. It'd be great to see her. The idea of being a ship where you were pretty mellow about all of it. It'd be great to see her. I mean, I don't know. The adventure or Lee? I don't know what. Let's do you were eagerly anticipating the adventure. It wasn't every day that you get to ride on a proper boat, let alone a private one. You were excited to get out in the water and see the ocean from a fresh angle. That's right, because Marina loves the ocean. And this is exactly what it is. You weren't the only one who was heading out on the trip. Liz was coming, of course. Your moms had been invited, but hadn't been able to find the time to squeeze it in. So it's just the kids. And so the trip would only involve the kids of the family, a term that had stuck despite all 3 of you being adults now. Mom would have joked about cramping your style, but there was apparently plenty of room on the ship. Lee had been more than happy for you and Liz to bring other friends along if you wanted. And of course, but the trip out to Sunset Bird, then even further out to where Lee and the boat would be, just wasn't feasible for most people. Not many folks lived close by. There was naturally one person around who would always be there for the ride, Cove. You were just about to meet up with him outside. Lee had been glad when you told her he'd been able to come along today. Just as you were thinking about your cousin and her plans for the day ahead, your phone sprang to life. Glancing at the display, you saw the incoming call was from Lee herself. You answered it without pause. Hey.
Hi.
She dove straight into the topic, the trip meetup. You could hear the trill of excitement in her voice.
I'm here now, and everything's all set. All you gotta do is show up, and we'll be off. Woo!
She spoke quickly, animated by anticipation. Hooray! You echoed her enthusiasm. Who says hooray, though, anymore? Like, who even says hooray? Like, is that a thing people say? I just spent a couple weeks with, like, the youth of this generation, hearing, like, words like bro and bet and things such as that, and I just, the way people talk nowadays, man.
Great, can't wait to see you. Liz and Cove are definitely still on board, too, right? Yep. Wonderful. The There's still a bit of time before you're due to set off. Is there anyone you want to extend a last-minute invite to? No need to keep the guest list sparse now. It's not like we'll be bumping into anyone else to join when we're out in the middle of the ocean. Yeah, so this is why we wanted to have Baxter as a friend. I'm guessing if you were indifferent to Baxter, you probably wouldn't get to do this. No one really comes to mind that I want to be there. But there's a new guy around. I think you might like him. Ooh, you better invite him then. Sure, I'll see if he can squeeze a sudden boat trip into his busy schedule.
Talk to you later.
I'll let you go. I have to if I want to see you here in the flesh. So I guess this logically follows the last moment. We just hung out. She just hung out with Baxter and her friends. She's kind of feeling a little bit like sorry for Baxter and his not wanting to include himself and stuff, like going in the ocean. And despite how she might feel about Baxter, I feel like Marina would want to include him in stuff and try to extend that friendship to someone. She's always been that kind of person, and she will continue to be that kind of person. She uttered the last words dramatically, making them sound more like a threat than a statement. Laughing, you shook your head. Lee chuckled along down the phone. Bye, Lee. Bye! Now that your attention was free, you looked over the stairs to see if Liz had emerged yet, but there was still no sign of her. You figured you might as well go and see if Cole was ready in the meantime. Besides, you needed to stop by Baxter's place to invite him along. Liz would catch up. You were sure. You called up the stairs to let her know the plan. You sent her a text updating the plan. You left her out to it. You called up the stairs to let her know the plan. Liz, I'll be outside. Okay. With that, you hopped off the chair and headed out the door. A sunny day greeted you. Shielding your eyes with a hand, you admired the sky. It looked like good weather for heading out in the water. That was something. You heard your name called. Turned automatically. Cove was the source of the call. He was standing halfway between his own house and yours. He waved at you as you walked over. You waited for him to join you. You took a step in his direction. You ran over to him. You ran over, threw your arms around him. You ran over to him. Waiting for him to reach you was unbearable, so you tore across the street to join him. Cove chuckled, tilting his head slightly as you bolted to his side. Just gonna... Took a step in his direction. Cove smiled at you as he covered the rest of the short distance. Yeah, no, we're not like... Oh my god, it's Cove! That's not how she is at all. Hi. Well, look who it is. Ready to go? Cove nodded easily, blinking languidly in the sunlight. Cove glanced away, chewing his lip. That's weird. That's a weird... This, and then Cove glanced away, chewing his lip in consternation. Is it really okay for me to come? You snorted with laughter, recalling Lee's openness to any and all friends and acquaintances, but the troubled look on Cove's face ended your mirth. Of course it is. You're always invited, remember? Cove rubbed the back of his neck, frowning as if trying to work it out for himself. Yeah, it's just, I don't know, this is a really ritzy trip, and Lee's your cousin, not mine.
I mean...
Two of us, me and Lee, are friends, maybe, but it's not like we've ever hung out on our own. I'm kind of worried I'm gonna be out of place. There's no way you'd be left out, Cove. She wants you there, promise. Cove, you're so difficult. Don't you want to go on a boat? You looked at him concerned. She wants you there, I promise. Okay, you're right. Cove managed a small smile. The worry hadn't lifted him from his rigid shoulders, but you could tell that he was attempting to project a little more confidence. I'm gonna go, don't worry. Good. You were satisfied with that. I meant to tell you, I'm gonna be inviting Baxter too. I've got to check if he's in now before we run out of time.
Huh?
Really? Cove was stunned. He hadn't been prepared for any extra surprises. He shook it off, however. Alright, it's not like this isn't already gonna be awkward for me. Yeah, this man still doesn't like Baxter, and we had to pretend we like Baxter. He was joking, mostly. I'll wait for you here. Okay, Cove, I'll see you in a bit. He strolled over to the condo Baxter was staying in and rang the doorbell. Hitting the button, you had you recall the time Liz dared you to once before to ring this very bell and ding-dong ditch the mean old people residing there. Hey, they did it! They actually called back on that. That we did that one time with where Baxter was living. I actually was wondering if they'd ever mention that. She probably hadn't expected you to accept the dare. Your chest puffed out with nostalgic pride, remembering the thrill of adrenaline and how it fueled your little legs faster than you thought they could go. Yeah.
Before old memories could claim me, the door slid open. Baxter looked out, his head tilted in interest.
Nice to see you.
Marina, what a nice surprise. That nice to see you was so... you make my skin crawl, Baxter Ward. Fortunately, though, this is the last moment I think I have to deal with you in until the finale. So this is the limit of our interaction with Baxter for the summer. That's good. We've done it all at once. He folded his arms over his chest, leaning casually against the doorframe. Is there something I can do for you? We're on out on a boat ride with me and my family in Cove. We're taking a boat trip right now. Are you on board? So the thing is, we're going on sort of a trip now. You can come if you want to. We're taking a boat trip right now. Are you on board? His eyes widened only briefly before resting back to his usual languorous expression. It was either an impressive show of restraint, or Baxter's life involved more impromptu boat trips than yours. Perhaps more impromptu boat trips than yours. Probably both.
I can do that.
I'd love to. What, you didn't have plans already? No, seriously, that's great. You're surprised Baxter's mouth curled into a little smirk. My schedule is always open for an improved itinerary. I'm flexible, remember? Oh. He was not only agreeing to come on the trip, but apparently canceling some other plan in order to make it happen. Baxter was certainly something. Thanks for keeping me in mind. I think this is going to be fun. He slipped outside after securing the door behind him. He swept out an arm and indicated for you to lead the way. The first stop was to Cliff Cove. He was waiting as promised where you'd left him.
Good afternoon.
Cove, good to see you. There was still no sign of Liz. You took the opportunity to bring Baxter up to date on the plan for the day. He took in your words with interest. Only a minute or two more passed before the door to your house finally opened. The door to your house finally opened, and Liz framed within it like a portrait. Unlike you, she had no need to shield her eyes with a hand in order to protect them from the sun's bright rays, as her hat was performing the job admirably. Spotting you, she headed straight over. I love this hat. I love this woman and her hats. She smiled warmly at you and Cove as she approached. Her attention then promptly turned to the group's new addition. It's nice to see you again, Baxter. His eyes closed and he bowed his head in a nod ever so slightly. And the same to you. That didn't sound that excited to see anybody. It's a weird group that we've got here. Living on the same street had given Liz and Baxter the opportunity to get to know each other over the course of the summer. Though she'd spent less time with him than you had, you anticipated that she wouldn't object to him taking along on the trip. I don't know. I feel like Marina wouldn't have spent that much time with Baxter. He came and hung out like that one time for that ice cream trip. But I guess she maybe just sees him in passing. I don't know. I asked him to join us today. Just as you'd expected, Liz didn't have much of a reaction to the change of plan. She merely raised her brow.
Oh.
I just wanted to see the interaction between Baxter and Lee, okay? This is 100, that's 100% what this is. It's not at all Marina's interest in Baxter. She wants to see her cousin's reaction to meeting another rich person. I feel like you and Lee will become fast friends, Baxter. Exactly. You laughed, having the same thought the same thing yourself. Baxter smiled politely. With that, your little group piled into the car. It had been decided in advance that you'd all be heading over in Cove's car. Because we can't afford more than one car here. Our family doesn't have more than one car. We just have the mom's car. Like, I don't know if they both even have a car or if just mom has a car. And Baxter has a car, but it'd be kind of rude to ask him to drive after everything. So here we are in Cove's lovely car again. Then you set off the journey down the coast to where you'd be meeting Lee. You wound down the California shoreline with sparkling ocean waters on one side and craggy cliffs on the other. Ah yes, Highway 1. I know it well. I love Highway 1. This is exactly how I would describe it. I love it. Oh my god. Of all the roads I've ever driven in my life, Highway 1 on the California coast is the best. I'd be hard-pressed to name another drive that I love as much as that. The world blurred by until eventually you made it safely to the large harbor. It was far grander scale than the one near Mr. Holden's shop. Boats 2, 3, even 5 times larger could fit. Liz took charge from there, calling up your cousin to guide you the rest of the way. Lee did her best to explain where precisely the boat was docked. Given that she was doing it without seeing where you were, and that it was an area she only slightly familiar with herself, she did a pretty good job. Took a bit of fumbling, a little retracing of steps, and your cousin and your sister had different definitions of orange. That was rusty brown, Liz had protested. But before too long, you heard her voice calling, not from the phone, in Liz's hand, over the wind rolling off the ocean. Searching for the source of the sound, you found her on the prow of a ship, jumping into the air and waving frantically for your attention. You'd arrived. Lee dashed from the bow over to the gangway, where you boarded one by one. Hi everyone, I'm so glad you got here okay. Oh my goodness, look at her ship. See, this is like, so this isn't like a huge boat. It's big enough to go on the ocean in, though. Got them fruity cocktails, though. Get ready. There's an optional part of this where you can be seasick and you go down below and you spend time with Cove. We ain't doing that. We are partying it up with our cousin and our good buddy Baxter Ward on the deck of the ship. And our sister, I guess, is also here. You could tell, even if she said nothing, her bright grin as she saw you all spoke loud and clear. Ahoy, Captain Lee. You smiled at her, you waved, you gave your cousin a high five, you squeezed her in a side hug. Shaking one arm around her shoulders, you pulled her against you. Lee wrapped an arm around your waist and hugged you back. After greeting you, Lee turned to look over the faces of the others who'd be joining you on this ocean voyage. Her attention was immediately pulled to the only one in the group that she'd not met before. Grinning, she approached him.
My pleasure.
I'm Lee. I'm so excited to meet the mysterious new man on the block.
What a coincidence. I was looking forward to meeting our gracious host for the day.
This is a match made in hell. Just saying.
To be honest,
But I must confess, I'm not that mysterious. I'm rather open. I do hope that doesn't come as a disappointment.
Not at all. I can appreciate forwardness. Welcome aboard.
You know what? You look like a red-haired Rarity. Our cousin is Rarity. This just occurred to me. Like, the twirls in her hair, and the skin color, and the eye color, and the... She's literally Rarity. Our cousin is Rarity. And he's like those unicorns that Rarity's always trying to talk to in Canterlot. With that, she glanced over at the others.
Thank you.
Thanks again for taking on this lovely trip.
That sounded way too, like, just like you were dying and someone, like, dying of, like, hunger and someone gave you something to eat. Listen to that again.
Thank you.
Thanks again for taking us on this lovely trip.
Cove hovered awkwardly behind you and your sister. Even with Liz's broad sun head, he was too tall and the group too small to hide effectively. He made fleeting eye contact with Liz, then looked away.
Thank you for letting me come. The boat is cool.
He chuckled nervously. Lee smiled, entertained by his bumbling phrasing.
Hi, Cove.
She giggled as she spoke, unable to hide her amusement. Cove lowered his head. You patted his arm reassuringly. You stood in front of him like a shield. You couldn't help but smirk at his reaction. You rubbed the bridge of your nose. You folded your arms. You patted his arm reassuringly. We're all gonna have a good day. You don't have to laugh at him. Cove's little game of hide and seek is pretty funny. Cove smiled weakly at your face. His face flushed. You could tell that he appreciated your show of support, but was still embarrassed about needing the help. The floor seemed to give beneath you. As Lee whooped with delight, you realized the ship had pulled out into the water. My goodness, do I love the water. Have I talked about this enough in this playthrough? Have I talked about my own love of boats and the water and how I could die aboard a ship and be happy? Man. What I wouldn't give to be on this boat with them right now in the ocean. I'd even put up at Baxter for this. Sorry, finishing my meal here. No more interruptions now. I promise. Very professional content in this channel. It had been so steady while it was moored that you'd temporarily forgotten you weren't on solid ground. Now as the boat rocked beneath your feet, there was no doubt you were truly setting sail. It's true. This is how boats are. It's this weird transition. I mean, you can feel the waves lapping when you're standing on the boat, moored to the dock. But when you truly get out on the water, it's a completely different sensation. Like, I've been on all sizes of boats. I've been on boats not quite this large, but I've been on ferries that guide people across water. I've been on boats big enough to go on fairly large lakes. Like fishing boat style boats. Without being able to see this whole boat, I can't really tell, but I wouldn't really call this a yacht. I think it's just a day cruiser, a day tripper. That's what I would call it, probably. The little group dissipated into chatter or headed over to the railings to watch the ocean. You were ruffled by the breeze, which seemed stronger out in the water than it was back on the shore. The floor continued to rise and fall, reminding you of standing in a bouncy house while the others jumped. So you can, yeah, here's where you can be nauseous and have to go. It was refreshing. You were curious about how this trip would go. You felt unsure but tried to ignore it. It was scary. It was refreshing. As you let the surroundings truly sink in, you thought today was shaping up to be memorable. You were glad that you'd been able to join Lee on this trip.
We can really get the party started now. Oh, wonderful. What did you have in mind? Well...
The word hung in the air as your cousin stalled. It was clear that she didn't have something immediately in mind. Cole's eyes sparkled as he piped up. Can we get out of the boat? Like, go swimming around in the deep ocean? What? Really, Cove? This is the one thing I would say. I would never do this. There is a word in this sentence that explains exactly why I wouldn't. That word is deep. Deep ocean. No, thank you. Oh, I'd be willing to take one of those, like, submarine things and go down and see, like, the deep ocean and stuff, but I am not willing to be in it. Like, with all the things that live in it. The idea of taking a boat for a day and going to some, like, island, like, area and mooring off the coast and swimming off the coast of an island is pretty cool, even if it's a little deep there, but not in the middle of the frickin' deep ocean. God, no. Sometimes you'd swear that boy was part merman, the way he was continuously drawn to the water, but Liz immediately quashed the suggestion. I mean, Marina would want to do this too. But Marina would love that idea.
No.
Her tone left no room for debate. Wow, just no. Baxter chuckled, combing a hand through his hair. I'd prefer to stay on board too. Yeah, we already know how you feel about the sea. I'm surprised.
Sorry.
It's not that kind of boat trip. It isn't supposed to stop anywhere. If someone did end up in the water, the captain would call the Coast Guard on us.
Yeah, it's not. That's true. It's not like one of those. It's not. You're not gonna moor anywhere either. We're just sailing around for a bit. But like, yeah, I'm surprised Baxter. He probably lives. I mean, again, Baxter doesn't hate the water. I guess he just doesn't like the idea of swimming in the ocean. But he doesn't mind going on a boat, I guess, because he probably has been on lots of yachts before and such. Cove's shoulders slumped at the resounding rejection.
Alright.
That's disappointing. Suck it up, Cove. We'll still find something fun to do, Cove. No way am I getting in the water. Yeah, that's what I would say. He didn't comment that that's disappointing.
Truthfully, there isn't that much we can do on the boat that we couldn't technically do back on land.
I often take trips with my father on our boat. He always spends the time deep-sea fishing.
Whoa! Baxter lore that we didn't know here. So his family does own a boat because they're rich. Of course they do. They live in the coastal areas in Oregon, probably. I'm guessing Golden Grove is close enough to the coast. But his father is a deep-sea fisherman, which is kind of interesting. That's something I would love to try one day too, but I'm probably never going to because that's not my scene. It's something I like in theory, but probably would never do in practice.
I'm not much of a fisherman personally. Activities that could also be done while not on a boat sound excellent to me.
Yeah, you'd probably prefer to stay away from the edge in the water, I would imagine. Visibly bolstered by Baxter's support, Lee smiled warmly at him. My dad also takes me fishing sometimes, though we do it on the docks by Dad's shop. Yeah, that tracks. I'm not good at it either. Baxter snickered, his expression warm as he looked at Cove. He appreciated the delicate attempt to relate, especially with how standoffish Cove normally was with him. Oh, are they gonna bond over this? Is this gonna be like Cove and Baxter bonding time?
That's the fate of sons with their dads, apparently. How lucky we won't be doing that now.
Yeah. Liz nodded. There's nothing wrong with some non-nautical themed activities. We could play a party game for all I care. I don't like that they're doing the cut-ins for them instead of having them here. Like, we had Baxter for a second, but nobody else gets physically put in the boat scene. We just get cut-ins of everybody else. That's kind of upsetting.
Yeah.
We'll do a party game.
He saw her brow furrow for just a moment as she mentally conjured possibilities and smoothed out as one came to mind.
Oh, what about the one where something is written down and people give clues and one person has to guess what it is?
Sure, I said I'd play a party game, and I stand by it. Who's guessing first? Me? How about rock, paper, scissors to decide? We could have an arm wrestling contest to choose? I don't care. You waited for someone to speak. This is something Marina would say. Because literally, like, the only other person that would do this with her is Cove. That's on this boat. The others blinked at you as you made your suggestion. Liz's expression was skeptical. And how would we decide who took turns for that? The game that is supposed to decide who's taking the first turn in the game we originally decided to play. Lee snickered, batting a hand in the air to brush away those minor details.
Trust me.
Don't be like that. We'll make it work. It's a good idea. More games equal more fun.
Together you agreed in order to go first. Wait. We're actually doing the arm wrestling contest. Is that what I'm getting out of this? Is that we're actually doing the arm wrestling contest that dumbass Marina suggested? Together you agreed on an order to go in for this set of games, and the mini competition was on, with Liz and Lee facing each other in the first round. Liz was triumphant in the first game. The next challenger was Baxter. He and Liz went up against each other, and Baxter emerged victorious. Now he was waiting to see who he would go against in the next round. Seriously! We're doing the arm wrestling contest! Marina's dumbass was making a joke because she thought the only person that would do it is Cove. Meanwhile, you were gearing up for a round against Cove. The winner would be Baxter's opponent. Cove stared at you with narrowed eyes. The minigame might only be a bit of meaningless fun, but Cove meant business. You and Cove took opposite-facing seats in the deck. I hope it doesn't tell me if I hope I don't get to pick whether I win or lose. Because that's stupid. I hate when you get to decide. Like, I like when you get to say your relative skill level that it tells you, but it just, like, tells you that, like, sometimes it's just like, you win, or you lose. You and Cove took opposite-facing seats at the deck as the others looked on. You locked your hands together, ready to begin.
Alright, on 3.
Cove frowned as he stared at your locked hands, summoning mental as well as physical strength.
1, 2, 3.
I mean, I don't think that she could beat Cove. I'm gonna say this right now. We have athletic, physical Cove. Like, even though Marina is an athletic, physical person too, I don't think that she would physically be able to overpower him. It's just the way physiques work, sadly. Your arm tensed as you pushed against Cove's. You were met with resistance. Cove's hand wasn't easy to move. You focused on the game, you blew in his face. Oh, but we could definitely cheat. You blew in his face. The puff of air had Cove instinctively close his eyes and he sputtered from the unexpected sensation. You successfully broken his concentration. His arm slackened against yours and you took your chance. With a final push, you slammed his hand down. We could definitely cheat! We're definitely cheat. We're that kind of person.
Hey!
We have to defeat Baxter Ward, be the champion. Aw, look at little Cove Jr. Look at little Holden Jr. Gonna cry. Cove slumped his shoulders, accepting defeat. You'd gotten the better of him that day. His pouting session ended abruptly with a shake of his head as he refocused on what was ahead. Cove stole a glance up at the monochrome newcomer. Then he met your eyes with complete seriousness. You could beat him. I mean, I think we could beat Baxter. You laughed, you sighed long-sufferingly. Your cheeks heated up at Cove's insistence. You nodded resolutely. I think she could beat Baxter. Cove was so invested, it was hilarious. Baxter watched your exchange with Cove and waited for an appropriate moment to approach you. His smile curled. I mean, this man's is not the athlete. Good luck. Good luck to you. I don't need luck. This is gonna be fun. This is gonna be fun. His smile grew wider as he took Cove's former place at the table. Your fists locked together for the last game. The countdown began, and the two of you threw yourselves into it, pushing with full force against the other. You kept your full focus on getting his hand down. You blew air into Baxter's face. Hey, quick over there. You brought your face close to his teasingly. No, I think she's gonna actually, like, win this one fair and square. Right? You gave it your best effort, but a visible hand bend in your position soon began to appear. You kept resisting until ultimately Baxter pressed your hand flat against the tabletop. Oh, come on! How could we possibly... How does Marina possibly... So that basically just... I'm gonna pick this one, because that's what I said. But basically this means you lose. This should just say, you lose. And then the rest of these are... But this is what I wanted. I didn't want, like, a you lose or you win button. I wanted a you do whatever level of effort you want, and it tells you how you do. I wonder if you could distract Baxter, but I'm not going to try. We're going to lose. It was over. Cole's face fell right into his hands at the call of Baxter's triumph. Baxter merely shrugged a faint indifference.
Very well.
Well, that's nice. I won. Who would have known? How? How did you beat Marina? Cove, still pouting, lifted his face just enough to peek at Baxter. Good job. He was willing to concede the win, even if he was sour about it. That made Baxter's grin return. Cove is mad because he lost to Marina and then Marina couldn't beat Baxter. Cove's like, I would have beat Baxter if I had the chance. I could totally beat that guy. It was a good game. Congratulations, I'm proud of you. You're so humble. Boo was robbed. You're not just Baxter Ward, you're Baxter Win. What? You could... Congratulations.
Thank you.
Lee shot Baxter an impressed thumbs up as Liz chuckled in disbelief. The actual game hasn't even started and people are already getting like this. Her pointed look was aimed straight at Cove, who was still recovering from the shame of defeat. He pulled himself together completely after that. Hey, you know, you've gotten rusty with your party game skills, Marina. Liz lightly slapped his shoulder for that comment. He chuckled unrepentantly. With a devious grin, Lee picked up a pen and notepad from the bar counter. She twirled the glittery pen with her fingers. Lee clarified the rules after Cole's raising a wavy eyebrow. Random words would be written down and folded up to give to another player. When someone's turn to be a guesser, they would show everyone else the word, but couldn't look at it themselves. Oh, it's that game. Like the headbands game, or whatever you call it. I see. I thought they were playing charades, but it's that game where you're the person that, and everyone else has to make you guess what your word is. The other players had to help the guesser figure out what the word was without saying it directly. Each person was allowed to say only one clue. After all the hints were given, then the guesser would have to decide. Lee gave each guest at the mini party a piece of paper from her notepad, with surprisingly thick lined paper with a little starfish print at the bottom. She scrounged around to find more writing implements. She managed to dig up a short pencil with an old jelly grip on it, a ballpoint pen with a logo and you didn't recognize it, and a purple crayon. Wow. Baxter had a nice pen with him already, so he respectfully passed on Lee's offer. She turned to you. Of course he did. Here, pick one. Is this a reference to, like, Harold and the Purple Crayon? Anyway, I gotta read what those are again, since we actually had to pick one. Short pencil with an old jelly grip on it, a ballpoint pen with a logo, you didn't recognize the purple. Now, I think we want the short pencil, right? I don't know. This is kind of the childish Marina. Yeah, no, purple crayon. Of course. He pulled the crayon from the fan assortment of options Lee had presented to you. The crayon was a lot thicker than what you were used to. It smelled like kindergarten with a hint of those restaurants that used to give crayons with their kids' menus. After a random selection of words was determined, and the papers were passed around, it was time to start.
Alright.
I guess we know who's going now. Baxter finished his paper from his ripped pants pocket and presented it to the group. Loopy handwriting spelled out the word slide. That's right, Baxter had to be the first one to go because he won the arm wrestling. Oh, kids like it. It's for kids. Kids? Lee bounced enthusiastically, holding out a hand to indicate the short height of children. Baxter nodded slowly.
All right.
It's at playgrounds, but not really small ones, usually. The playground around our neighborhood doesn't have it, if you've been there. He shook his head, still perplexed.
Unfortunately, I have not.
Dang. You've been to playgrounds before, though, right?
Baxter had to pause to think of it. He shrugged.
Maybe?
In my elementary school, I did have recess, but we had sports fields more than traditional playgrounds.
Because of course you went to probably a rich private school. Unless you went to elementary school with the other kids from Golden Grove that we'll find out about in our life too.
For some reason, it's hard to picture you as a little kid.
Well, I'd rather you not imagine that, so it all works out.
Yeah, I bet he doesn't want people to picture him as a little kid. Cole placed a finger on his cheek as he puzzled out the game's conundrum. He tapped his face absentmindedly.
It's slippery. You can't really walk on it.
Huh?
Slippery?
I like this Baxter face. I wish that... Oh, jeez. I can get that without the cut-in. That might have to be my thing. Every clue lost Baxter even more. He had no idea what the word could be. So I appreciate that they blink, but for scenes like this, well, I guess the sunlight does change. Never mind. I was about to say it'd be nice if there was some animation in the background, like the waves or something moving, but there's these rays of sunlight right here that are coming down that are at least moving. That help a little bit. You sit on it and then go down. It's tall and long, and you have to climb it to the top. You can go on it one way, but can't really get out the other way. That's not true at all, and Marina would know better. Baxter, do you know how to do the cha-cha? Oh! He's a dancer! It's fine if you don't get it. I'll let it. Mings do it in their bellies. He's not... Yeah, probably this one, because he's a dancer, right? She would think of that. He's obviously not getting playground slides, because he wasn't a slide person. He's not a playground person. Also, this is not true at all, because you can definitely get up the slide the other way. And Marina would be one of those kids that did that. Baxter, do you know how to do the cha-cha? The cha-cha slide? Oh! Slide! That's it, slide! Baxter's floundering confidence returned in full force with a broad grin. Wait. I love this expression. Yeah, I love this Baxter expression. Oh my god.
Excellent.
I got it.
He flipped the paper over and traced his fingers across the word. He smirked at it.
Thank you very much for the tip, Marina.
Liz patted you on the arm with approval.
Nice one. You had the magic approach that time.
You unfolded the paper given to you, careful not to peek what you showed everyone. Liz leaned in close with a thoughtful grin. As soon as Lee had a chance to read the word, she jumped up.
Dog! There's a popular type of dog sometimes called that.
It's where scientists do experiments and stuff. Oh, wow. This is easy. I wouldn't have got it with the first hint. I would have started guessing dog breeds, but yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's a secret location. In Dexter's laboratory lives the smartest boy you've ever seen. But Dee blows his experiments to smithereens. There is doom and gloom where things go boom in Dexter's lab.
Liz gave Cove an edged look. She probably thought it would confuse you.
It can be for photos as well.
Used for photos as well. That wouldn't help. I mean, I think Marina would get it. I mean, Liz's hint is,
Good.
That's it.
I like that you get to type it instead of, like, there being a selection. That's funny.
You got it.
Yeah, you nailed it.
Everyone cheered. Liz gave you a round of applause. You looked at the paper and neat writing, trendy writing, you saw the word lab printed. Whew, wow, that was dumb. You breathed a sigh of relief, you shrugged, you laughed. The hints the others had given you had helped out a lot, even if Cole's clue was a little strange. It was fun to see where everyone's mind had gone when trying to describe the word lab. I mean, Liz's was the most helpful, if I'm honest. We should definitely keep this ball rolling. Cole flipped over his paper and showed it to the crowd. He kept his hand at the back of the note so you couldn't see the word even if light shone through it. In blocky, wobbly text, you read the word potatoes. You pursed your lips together as if you thought you could say... I mean, if it was me playing this game in modern day, I would be like, boil them, mash them, stick them in a stew, right? What's potatoes, precious? Potatoes! Her thing is weird. She just gives these weird hints. Sack! Liz turned her head with an incredulous expression while Lee continued her thought. She jumped up, pointing right at the paper Cove had in his hand. You put them in a sack! Cove blinked at Lee, deeply confused. Lee smiled back, full of confidence that he would come to an understanding eventually. You are just an enigma wrapped in a mystery sometimes. It's the major vegetable you use in croquettes. I mean, Cove does like food, but that's rich people food. I've never had a croquette in my life. I don't know what that is.
Really?
Baxter was earnestly taken aback, as if Cove just said he never had toast before. Hey, now, don't say nothing about that. I love toast. Maybe we should change that. There has to be somewhere in this town that serves them right. Liz cleared her throat, saving Cove from having to respond beyond his frown. It's that Mr. toy with the different faces and things. Cove tilted his head, utterly baffled at the different directions everyone had taken.
What?
What's a Mr. Toy? Well, Liz simply shook her head at his lack of understanding. It was your turn to try. They're brown and lumpy. The sweet versions and regular versions is a very common starchy root vegetable. Cove, forget the croquettes, French fries. Mom loves the mashed and Mom thinks it's bland. Shook your head, not offering it. Yeah, this. Cove likes food. You gave him a look, saying the right answer to him while filling the blank Baxter had left. Potatoes! Yup. See, Marina's just gonna be like, yes, shut up, Baxter. Excuse your stupid rich people food. Or a singular potato. Okay, I think this might also almost be a better like picture for the thing than Baxter.
Yeah.
Cove repeated it again with a bright beaming grin. Potatoes! He held his hand out to you for a celebratory high five. He smacked his hand back. He gave him a fist bump and said, "Yeah, no, this is Marina. She always high fives everyone." He slapped his hand with a satisfying smack. He nodded, still looking ecstatic. Thanks for the hint. I don't think I would have got it without that. Yeah, everybody else is terrible at this game, Cove. You're welcome. Baxter's too rich. Lee is too, like, enigmatic, and Liz likes to just mess around. Congrats. Now let's go again. Suddenly the boat tipped forward before rocking back harshly. The ship must have gone over a bigger than usual wave. Liz held onto her head desperately. Lee laughed at her immediate death grip. You never know what'll happen on the high seas. He chuckled too. Watch out, Liz, you wouldn't want to lose such a nice topper. You felt a burst of nausea come over you? Oh, so you could probably play the game and then feel nauseous and go below and do the whole scene. So you can probably do both. You started to feel really freaked out about being in the middle of the ocean like that. Watch out, Liz, you wouldn't want to lose such a nice topper. You and Lee chuckled together while Liz stuck up her nose. However, your sister was now smiling and her hold was slackened. The game continued with Liz and Lee taking their turns. It was such a good time that you all decided to play a few more games. Liz turned out to be the best guesser, although that could have been because you knew her well enough to give her relevant hints. I feel like we would know Cove just as well as Liz at this point in our life, and we'd be able to give Cove good hints. Probably just gave Baxter that hint because we knew he was a dancer. Lee had to stop herself from answering on the first clue she was given, but no one really minded. All in all, everyone was glad that Lee had suggested the game. Oh! Lee shot you a grin. Why don't we have some drinks? There's a bar on the ship. You know, I almost think Lee needs to be the center of attention for this moment, because it's kind of her moment, right? Cove tilted his head in disbelief. Lee continued blithely.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, there's a bunch of stuff behind the counter. I bet one could make whatever they can think of.
That sounds like an interesting challenge.
There's lots of different juices and stuff. I think I've even seen strawberry puree and pineapple. The carrot juice sounds intriguing.
So...
It's a juice bar.
Yeah.
Liz laughed and tapped on Lee on the shoulder.
You just said barley. I think you gave the wrong idea. Oops, sorry for the disappointment, Cove. This is a family-friendly game, and we can't ever drink, even though we're and do anything illegal. Possibly, we couldn't possibly drink before we're 18 or 21. I mean, in America, no alcohol is provided by the ship. That's probably required considering the group they've got today. Also, it probably would be a dumb idea to give people on board alcohol, because they could fall overboard a lot easier.
I'm not disappointed by that. I didn't want to get drunk on a ship. I'm a little disappointed. Lee breezed past that misunderstanding as though it hadn't even happened. I mean, Baxter also, he talks like this, but then when given the chance to drink most of the time, he doesn't. He drinks, like, virgin cocktails. I was thinking we could mix them up and get something special. Anyone interested? Cole thought about it, intrigued. Liz smirked, recognizing the potential for chaos. That sounds like a recipe for disaster. It'll be a dream, trust me. So, who wants to make drinks?
What?
It was your idea. Why don't you do it? I've mixed drinks before. If anyone else wants to try, this would be a great chance. I'm a gracious hostess. Well, I mean... Cool, you're gonna create something wonderful. I just know it. That's the whole point of the moment, right? Just for you to do stuff. You wondered if you ought to ask for requests, but Lee hustled you off to the non-alcoholic bar. No one else followed. Lee gave a brief tour of selection in various compartments before she went back to the tables. She showed a final message over her shoulder. Make sure there's enough for everyone. She waved and you were left alone with the juice. There was a fridge packed with cartons of various glass bottles of juice. Lee had packed a pitcher on the counter for you to mix things into. You stared at the options, trying to see just what you had to work with. There were a lot of choices. You reached into the fridge to take out some juice. You grabbed. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Apple juice, orange juice, pineapple juice, mango juice, grape juice, cranberry juice, strawberry juice, mixed raspberry, blueberry, and blackberry juice, carrot juice, papaya juice, pomegranate juice, coconut water. So some of this I don't even know what it tastes like in real life. I've never had papaya or pomegranate juice. So I've ever had mango juice, actually. But she's gonna f around. We're gonna do some papaya. Lee wanted that carrot juice. I mean, if it was me, I'm thinking you make orange, cranberry, and maybe some pineapple for a good mixture. Papaya juice. Maybe pineapple for the sweet. Actually, I was gonna do strawberry for the sweet. Carrot juice. I wonder if you can actually do good or mess this up. Maybe mango too. She likes mango. There you go, and that's all. When your juice was done, you set out some glasses and poured out some for everyone. Hey everyone, come and get your juice! Wow. Hey, maybe I'll call this moment, hey everyone, come and get your juice. Come on and get your juice. The group got up from the lounge chairs that they had been sitting on and came to fetch their drinks. Everyone picked up a glass and took a sip. Liz squinted as she took a large swig of juice. She smiled. That's kind of odd, but weirdly in a good way.
Right?
I agree, it's some nice work. I wonder if they say this regardless of what you pick. Or if you really can actually make something truly disgusting. Yeah. He nodded as he took another slow sip.
Bravo.
It's refreshing. The little juice experience was a good time as far as you were concerned. Contentedly, you all stood close together, some still holding their juice cups. Lee's eyes still scanned the group, and she giggled.
Right?
This is so much nicer than having to rely on regular phone calls to catch up, right? Before everyone could respond, Lee's eyes widened. The corner of your mouth pulled into an amused smile. Not that I don't enjoy our chats from afar, it's just more fun to actually be here together.
That's fine.
We understand. And yes, this is a fantastic little party. Happy graduation, Lee, Marina, and Cove. That was followed by more cheers in celebration of your high school careers coming to an end. Lee even lifted her glass to toast to it. When it settled down, your older sister had one more comment to add. So this is the whole, like, moving on to the future that's kind of the theme of every moment in Step 3. And no one even had to fight over who gets to use the home phone. Liz. Lily threw her head back in thunderous laughter, the smile widened on your face. I remember that. All the times Elizabeth here was trying to push me into being less gabby. She needed me to just stop so she could call her other friends instead. Hey, many teens have a too cool for family phase. Wow. Offended Elizabeth here.
You're welcome.
Luckily, it's
And it's all A-okay. I forgive Liz for being a teenager. That got a hearty laugh out of Liz. You caught a quiet snicker out of Cove, too. At least Marina kept me up to date on what was happening in Sunset Bird those difficult days. I never knew what wild thing you were going to fill me in on next. I couldn't wait to feel you know what was happening. Hey, I had to tell somebody what was happening day to day with these people. Liz really missed out on those meaningful conversations. Hey, I had to tell somebody what was happening day to day with these people. Liz and Cove shot you odd looks. They were both trying to sift through their memories for what other things you must have told Lee. You couldn't help but laugh. It definitely is always fun to stay in the neighborhood loop. Then Lee drank the rest of her juice down to the very last drop. She made her way down to the table by Cove and set her cup down. Actually, Cove watches Lee as his mouth pulled into a lopsided smile. Making these juice concoctions reminds me a lot of that smoothie business down at the mall. The one that lets you pick all the fruit that goes into it. That was a good place. Oh, now we're reminiscing about that time we went to the mall.
Yeah.
It was the best and exactly what I was channeling when I came up with this idea. I'm glad you caught that finally.
Sorry, I can take a while to get things sometimes. You all know that.
Mm-hmm.
Too true. That's an understatement. You're sharp when you want to be. It's okay, Cove. You're good exactly the way you are. You meant it, and you hoped that your sincerity came across all right. Slowly, a warm smile spread across his face. That moment broke with the sound of Liz's quiet laugh. That was all it took to get Lee laughing, too, and soon you were all soaking up the mirth of the moment, too.
Well,
Though, all that aside, we shouldn't leave Baxter out of the loop either. Everyone followed her lead and turned towards the guests for the summer. His expression softened as he shrugged over one shoulder. See, yeah, we were all kind of ignoring Baxter and just having our own little moment there.
I get it.
Well, while it's true, I wasn't here for these stories. I do enjoy hearing about them. It's nice to only listen sometimes.
Cool, really mature.
Thank you.
His gaze traveled from Lee to Liz and then over to you. He sighed.
My cousins aren't nearly as close in age as you are. As an only child, I'm curious what that kind of relationship is like.
Well, I'm with you there. Only child solidarity. Lee nodded firmly to Baxter and then shot Cove a serious look. He crossed his arms.
Oh, alright, yeah, only child solidarity.
A genuine smile lit up Baxter's face. Lee clapped her hands together, pleased with the united front created. Sharing the same wavelength, you and Liz turned your faces to give one another a look. Not breaking eye contact, she reached over and put a hand on top of your head.
thanks.
That's wonderful for you three. I'll keep Marina, thanks. That might be a better... Your siblings' stare shattered into laughter. The others joined in as well. Yeah, I like this a lot. Just the idea of all of us being here. The hours were spent chatting away, sharing stories of favorite memories as the boat drifted out to sea. As time slipped by, the sun hanging low in the sky, signaling that it was time to set back to sail to the harbor, the more boisterous atmosphere from earlier had set into a blanket of comfortable relaxation. Liz and Lee were absorbed in conversation, lounging around the deck couch. Baxter sat across from them, nodding along, and every now and then you could hear laughter coming from the three of them. There were always smiles. We have to have a moment with Cove, because that's what this game is about, right? This is going to be a bit of a long moment, but I wanted to do it all in one. Taking a deep breath of sea air, you sighed contentedly. Cove stood by your side in the center of the deck. When you were ready, you looked back to the deck and the faces of everyone you spent the afternoon with. You never wanted to forget that view. Then, looking out the wide open ocean, you committed every bit of this moment to memory. You quietly thought to yourself, today it's certainly been an adventure. Oh, and that's it. Oh, well, we're not going over an hour then. We just had a lovely time with a party. We got to know Baxter a little bit better. I'm just going to double check in my mind if Baxter shows up in any of the rest of these. I don't know. Unless he shows up in late shift, he might, depending on what you do there, I don't know. But I don't think so. I think Baxter, this is the last time we'll see Mr. Baxter Ward until summer ended. So that's at least good. I could care less about that, man. Also, don't save over this. I'll save over this, though. It's crazy to think it's been that much time. Well, we'll see you again real soon. Thanks for coming along on a boat trip.